Friends, welcome. This would really be an interesting video, and this video will be discussing a detective question. That's you can say like a brain twisting question. This is not for any question for any exam or like any subjective question or something like that. Let's start. This question actually you might find something's common from so many other questions you might have seen similar questions, but yeah, I've tried to. I myself made this question actually, and I've tried to like make it like include many things in the question. So let me first of all read the question once, no problem. At the dead of night, a person B fell from the roof of an apartment and died. Okay, at the dead of night, a person B fell from the roof of an apartment and died. On the roof during the time of the incident was person a middle-aged, bespectacled, dark-haired, dark-skinned, dark person with a wheezy voice. Okay. C, the gatekeeper of the apartment, lived in a small house near the apartment. Okay. You can say the caretaker or the gatekeeper of the apartment. So during the night, on the arrival of the police, C repeatedly yelled, A killed B, A killed B. I mean, C was accusing A of the death of the killing of B. A detective was summoned. Okay, Sherlock Holmes was summoned. He thoroughly searched the roof and found some burnt pieces of cigarettes. Then he came down on the road in front of the apartment. He noticed the footprints, okay, of only the front edge of a pair of feet. Only the front edge of a pair of feet. Starting from just in front of the door of the apartment and continuing in large strides, he couldn't find any footprints leading into the apartment. Fine. Only a series of footprints leading out of it. Okay. He could not find any more footprints neither on the other side of the door in the apartment nor anywhere else. He could not find any more footprints neither on the other side of the door or nor anywhere else. Okay. And yeah, as it was during monsoon, there was a puddle of muddy water just in front of the apartment door. So that's why the footprints were visible, were prominent. The detective questioned C, that is the gatekeeper, and A. C accused A of murdering B. So obviously there were two persons to question, and the detective interrogated them. To A, he asked, "Did you apply any physical force on B? I mean, did you kill B?" A replied in the affirmative, "Yes, I did." The detective then had C arrested for the charge of murdering B when A said, "Yes, I did." That's the question. Now give a satisfactory explanation of the entire incident. A satisfactory explanation of the entire incident covering all the facts provided, assuming that A is speaking the truth. When the detective asked that, "Did you apply any physical force on B? Did you kill B?" A said, "Yes, I did. I killed B." Still, the detective had C arrested. So explain all these things. So that's actually a very interesting question, and we'll be giving, if you would like, we'll be giving some minutes of our life to this question because it's really interesting. So this is our apartment. Okay. This is C's house. C. At the roof, this is, suppose A is standing and B fell and died. Okay, B died. So question is A or C. That's on the roof during the time of the incident was a person A. Now what about A? This A here is, consider the things middle-aged. Okay, no problem about that. B spectacle, no problem. Dark hair, dark skinned, no problem. Dark nailed. Note this. Dark nailed person with a wheezy voice. These two things are a bit interesting. Other things are not that much interesting, right? C, the gatekeeper of the apartment, lived in a small house near the apartment. During the night, on the arrival of the police, C is accusing A of killing B. Okay, C is accusing A. Accusing A of killing B. Then a detective was called. He thoroughly searched the roof and found some cigarettes. Okay. Burnt cigarettes on roof. So before going further, can you relate something? Dark nailed person with a wheezy voice, that means when a person who smokes frequently, who uses who smokes cigarettes, they usually, you see, they sometimes they have the dark nail, that they're not this area, they become a bit dark. That's the thing. And wheezy voice, obviously when you smoke too much, you have a tendency to cough and your voice has the tendency to become wheezy. So that means conclusion, not a conclusion, but you can say this is a reasonable point. A smokes and A frequently visits the roof of the apartment because the detective found many burnt pieces. Do you say fish that smokes? That's a number one inference. That's not a conclusion. There can be other interpretation also, but that is reasonable. Let's see if we can go forward with this line of reasoning. He thoroughly searched the roof and found some burnt pieces of cigarettes. Then he came down on the road in front of the apartment. He noticed some imprints of. Okay, so suppose this is the door of the apartment. So this is the door of the apartment, and the detective came down near the door, and he noticed some footprints, but only the forward edges of the foot were visible. And they were going in large strides. Now what is the conclusion? Only the forward, that means suppose this is our foot, okay, that means the heels is not touching the ground, that means it is a bit slanted, okay. So when a person's foot is in this position, when he is running, that means if someone is running, only the imprint of the front edge of the foot will be visible. And yeah, in large strides, that means he was running very fast, he was accelerating, that's why the stride is becoming large stride, okay. So someone, we don't know who, ran away from apartment. Okay, he could not find any more footprints, and yeah, he could not find footprints leading into the apartment, no, but he could find some leading outside of the apartment, leading out of the apartment. And he also could not find any footprints neither other side of the door or not anywhere else. And here was a puddle of muddy water. So that means, but see, if whoever has entered the flat, if he would have stepped in that muddy water on the time of entering, there would have been footprints on the other side, but there is no footprint on the other side. That means he must have stepped on this water while he was like escaping. So that means we have one more conclusion. He or she, whatever, was in a hurry while coming out, but went in cautiously. Right. So he went in carefully without stepping on the muddy water, but while he was coming out, he was in a hurry, so he mistakenly stepped in the muddy water and those footprints were visible. That's all we can infer till this much information, right? So let's move on. The detective questioned C and A. To A, he asked, did you apply any physical force on B? Did you kill B? A replied in the affirmative. That means A is agreeing to both statements. Application of physical force and murder. So can this be interpreted in some other way? So most of you think that A pushed B and B fell. But application of physical force, this can also mean something else. Like B was trying to commit suicide, or maybe someone else was trying to murder B and A just pulled B. Pulling is also a force. Pushing is not only physical force, pulling is also a force. So maybe A pulled B, that's a thinking out of the box. So yeah, this fact can be covered murder. This thing murder does not, maybe A meant something else. The detective asked, did you kill B? The detective didn't ask, did you physically kill B? Okay, physical force is another matter, I already explained to you. Pulling also can also be the case. So maybe A considered, suppose someone, what if it was this? Suppose B was trying to commit suicide, so A wanted to prevent B, but A couldn't do that. So maybe A is thinking that it is my fault, I should have prevented him before only, maybe he's suffering from that kind of like, he's having a guilty feeling. So maybe that's why he said that yeah, he agreed that I killed B. Or you can also think of it like this. Maybe C was trying to murder B, murder A, and murder B, yeah. And A tried to prevent C from doing it, but A failed. I mean, B was killed. So that's why A is like putting taking the blame on his shoulders. That no, it's my fault. I should have prevented it. So that's it. And then the detective arrested Sergeant murder B. So yeah, one thing was also given there. That C accused A, and yeah, this accusation was like she was she repeatedly yelled. That means she was like very much interested in accusing A. That this itself shows that she must have something to do with the situation. So yeah, from this see our point. The question was not to prove that C killed B. Question was not to prove that C killed B. This is not what we have to do. Okay. The question was, give a satisfactory explanation of the entire incident, covering all the facts provided and assuming that A is speaking the truth. So maybe the situation was something else, but yeah, if we assume these things here, and yeah, then we can cover all these facts. That was the question. So we provided a satisfactory question. So that this question was a very interesting question. That's why I wanted to devote an entire video to this question. And yeah, I really love the detective character Sherlock Holmes. That was Sherlock Holmes' philosophy. Like, we should never like jump to any conclusion so soon. We should never jump to any conclusion. So let me just list it one by one. Yes, you might find it interesting. Never jump to conclusions. And yeah, Sherlock Holmes' famous mantra, like Einstein's mantra against quantum mechanics, was that God does not play dice with the world. Similarly, Sherlock Holmes also had a mantra. He used to say that whenever you have eliminated the impossible, then whatever remains must be the truth, even if that is improbable. So there's a difference between impossible, that means which cannot happen, which cannot account for all the facts, and improbable. That might have been the case, but that is unlikely. So whenever eliminated the impossible, then whatever remains must be the truth. That is obvious, but still that's a great thought, great word, great sentence. Then whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. That one. And then one more thing, that this actually the third quote. It's one of my favorite Sherlock Holmes quote, and it even helped me when I was dealing with some scientific like some argument. Like I was trying to make a anyway. It's not a part of this video. Sherlock Holmes used to say that when a single event seems to oppose a long chain of logical deductions, logical reasoning, then that event can be might then that event must be interpreted in some other way, must be capable of being interpreted in some other way. That's it. Suppose you have after a long chain of logical deduction, you have arrived at some point, at some conclusion. So now, if one single event seems to directly oppose this conclusion, that means this must be the case, that you must be able to like explain suppose this single event is saying that this is not true. If only a single event is trying to disprove something which have been like derived after a long series of logical deductions and reasonings, that means this event must be interpreted in some other way. Then rather than assuming this is wrong, you just assume this is wrong. This is being seen the wrong way. You just change your perspective. And this is not just deductive thought. These thoughts are like applicable to real life. We should. Anyway, so that's all I wanted to discuss in this video, and I hope the question was interesting. And these questions are like really interesting. Okay, thank you very much. That's all for this video.